Good Thursday evening, Hampton Roads, Northeast North Carolina. Chief Meteorologist David Aldrich here with WTKR News 3 Television. But as you've probably experienced this week, we've been trying something new here in a different part of the studios in the building. We actually do some podcasting on the other side of this very room. But I'm very happy to have you here, very grateful that you're here. We're going to talk about the NOAA Hurricane Outlook. They came out with their expectation this afternoon. Really, it was like 11 o'clock. I watched all 35 minutes or so of their press conference, so I got the full nuts and bolts that you won't have to necessarily have to rewatch unless you really want to. But want to also say a special thanks to my sponsor, Marco's Pizza. We have 5 convenient locations that are part of the giveaway. Although Marco's is nationwide, you can find them anywhere. And there's quite a few in Suffolk and Newport News. You'll find them in Hampton University, Hampton, all sorts of places. But I just want you to know these 5 locations are going to be key. The 3 in Virginia Beach here, the 1 in Norfolk, and the 1 there in Chesapeake, because Marcos.com is going to be giving away a free Magnifico, or at least you'll say one-topping pizza for a year. You say, well, year, that's crazy. I know that's just what they do. I mean, they give back to the community. I've had a good working relationship with them now for about 3.5 years or so. And the Pozzolis are great too. They're very filling if you're looking for a lunch item. But the certificate of winning a pizza for a year, that's 1 pizza per month for 12 months, starts on Monday. So this, you can think of this week as like the soft launch. We're going to launch this contest page starting on Monday. So you want to go to WTKR.com/Marcos. So I want to thank them and also get excited about having pizza rain down from the sky. All right, so I want to talk about the weather. Behind me, I got Franklin. Isn't that wild? That was a Hurricane Floyd. There was a restaurant in Franklin that had marked the floodwaters. There it is, Fred's. Fred had Hurricane Floyd damage way back in 99 or so? It was a long time, but 25 years ago, more than that. But I had a chance to go out there and visit. So I got Franklin over here, and I believe I also have, who else do I have? Oh, Exmoor. So I got Exmoor and Franklin pictures that'll be cycling in today. The water level at this site, how appropriate, right? We're talking about water rises, storm surge, all that's coming up here in just a mere moment or two. But let's get to the maps, because we did have, just a few moments ago, we had a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Gloucester County, Matthews County, also Middlesex. Now it looks like it's in the southern part of the eastern shore, and that's what we're seeing right now. In fact, if I can, I'll go in a little bit tighter, but basically this storm is part of, as it's moving to the southeast about 35 miles per hour, like the others, they are kicking up some damaging wind. They're also causing some issues there. So we want to make sure that you're mindful of that and know that if you're in this area, you've got probably a few more minutes to go. Let me go back and check one of the things that we're looking at with this particular storm. I'll give you some updates here. It does include Cape Charles. So Cape Charles is under the severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to run specifically until 8:15. And it's moving right now to the southeast, as I mentioned, 35 miles per hour. So some towns that are going to be affected certainly could be Cape Charles. It could be Sherrilton, and then Bayview. Bayview about 7:45, which is really in about 2 minutes from now. 2 minutes from now, they could have that severe thunderstorm warning on their doorstep. So make sure you take the necessary precautions. Do I expect it to be that strong in Franklin? No, I don't. I expect we'll find maybe some of these storms moving through, but this is how they've motioned in, right? So it's now Northampton County till 8:15, 1-inch hail, moving 35 miles per hour. And again, you know, after it crosses over, it's going to go right back over the open water. So be extra careful if you're in the path of this storm. This is not a tornado. This is not a possible tornado. It's not a tornado tag here. It's affecting about 2,100 people, and it's going to be producing potentially hail the size of a George Washington quarter. So the vigorous storms are up here. This was well advertised as of, well, late this afternoon, because the Storm Prediction Center issued this little level 1. They put this out about just 3 minutes before 4 o'clock. At least that was the last update I saw. It was just before it went on at 4 o'clock on the news side of News 3. So there is the potential for hail. The risk for tornadoes is next to nothing, but the winds of 40 to 60 miles an hour are still possible. So got a lot of ground to cover here in the short period of time we have. It's 7:44. I want to get to your comments. If you have a note, you have something you want to say hi to. I got a note from Denmark. He says hello, and he's giving applauding. He likes what he sees. I got Marilyn Bell on here. She says hello, and she says good evening, good Thursday evening, David. It's very windy here. She's in White Pine, Tennessee. So we have people from all over, and it's helpful if you're in the military. You know, you probably have family all over. It's helpful to know the big picture as well as the local picture. So we've got another thunderstorm, it looks like just now around the Chincoteague area. 2 thunderstorm warnings that are likely going to cause some issues if we're not careful. So I want to make sure we're aware of that. If I can go back to my next map, I believe I'll have that for us here. And so basically, there we go. So we got the one that's moving across the Cape Charles area. That's a severe thunderstorm warning until 8:15, and perhaps one that's just to the north, actually maybe southern parts of Maryland. It doesn't even look like it's going to reach Chincoteague as far as the severity, but there are some storms that are going to make some fuss. They're going to make some noise, and we want to make sure you're prepared for it when it comes to town. All right, so here's the other picture. Right, I want to come back on camera for a second. We've got some storms here. These will be more benign. I don't think these storms are going to reach the severity, and it follows in suit with the coloring of the level 1. That's mainly up here, but there's more instability up here. The low is up toward Buffalo, and so there's more indications that is what we're going to see. Is the showers that come in tonight should be here between now and exiting between, say, 9, 10, and 11 o'clock as they come in from Roanoke. Here's why I was talking about Buffalo. You can see the center of this rainy low round is centered all over Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, western Lake Ontario at the moment, but all the thunderstorms, it appears, mainly down here, and that's why we're getting a kick up in terms of the storms. If you're on the call, we'd love to say hi. I got Hatch. Hatch says, oh, he's in Chesapeake. He is checking in. Love it. I love it. And Josh Griffin, he's also on here. He says, I see the polygon from my mother's house up on the Maryland line on the eastern shore. Well, isn't that amazing? All right, these storms, again, well, they can pack quite a punch, but they do need to be taken seriously. I know a lot of folks were letting their guard down, thinking, "Oh, we're done with the rain." I've seen the Memorial Day forecast, but we got to get through the short term, right? First thing is first. But thank you, Josh, for sharing that with us. And if you're on the call, we'd love to say hi to you. Let's see here. Ambler is on here. I've got Marilyn Bell. Let's get back to the big picture because I want to stay on time as best I can. It is now 7:47. What's driving these showers and storms in part is a series of low pressure systems and cold fronts. We've got a cold front back across parts of Ohio, and we have another low that's not down far to the far south. So we've actually seen this energy come into town. The Memorial Day forecast, you ready for this? I didn't want to bury the lead. I didn't know I would have severe weather while I was doing this live today, but why not? We got 77, gorgeous weather on Saturday. Now, I have mid-70s both Sunday and Memorial Day, but fear not, I do think that we're going to find most of the rain on Sunday in the afternoon and evening, and then it should exit early Monday morning. Let me repeat, it should exit early Monday morning before 10 a.m. So if you are attending parade, if you are going to do some outdoor activities on Monday, it's not a washout by any stretch. So I wanted to give you the nuts and bolts there. We have had now 4, because I got notes here, I'm a note taker here. We've had how many? 4.14. 4.16 inches of rain so far. The month's not over. And last I checked, we got 3.78. So we're running about 0.38 above normal. So every raindrop that we get, we're going to get some on Tuesday. Some of the modeling suggesting anywhere from ½ inch to an inch and a half on Tuesday. Heaviest rains on Tuesday look like it's in North Carolina, but I get ahead of myself. Normal high this time of year is 79. I don't think we cracked, we hit 76. So we were cooler than average, but that just gives you some perspective. Clearly, beautiful picture of our downtown, and you can see all around the region, it's not that stormy. You would say, storms? I don't see storms. The storms are primarily right now over the eastern shore. All right, let me change gears for a moment because we wanted to talk a little bit about hurricane season, and I want to find out from you what exactly you're seeing and let me know. I see a note from Veronica. She says, David, I just took some photos of some dark clouds over Virginia Beach. How could I share them with you? You could put them in the comments section. That would help. I think people would be very appreciative of that, Veronica. I appreciate you checking in with us, but we could always like to see some pictures and also give you props. Leslie Hayes says hi. Is Leslie on the call? Oh, now we can have a party. We can have a pizza party because Marcos is sponsoring this. By the way, good evening from Gates County. Thank you, Leslie Hayes, for being here. We appreciate you as well. All right, so when I talk about numbers, some of you like numbers, some of you are like, I glaze over. Last year, we had 18, 11, and 5. 18 named storms, 11 hurricanes, 5 major, okay? And then average is 14, 7, and 3. So clearly, you don't have to be a mathematician to know that we had an above average year on all 3 fronts, just from the average, right? And the average is usually 30 years, a 30-year average. Now, Colorado State came out with their forecast in April. They're expecting an above average year. They put similar numbers to what we just came from. But remember, it only takes just one. I mean, it just takes one storm to ruin an entire season. And I want to bring you back to how many of you are old enough, I'm showing my age, if you're old enough to remember the year 1992, what happened there? We had a thing called Andrew. Now, you know the names, right? They go by A, and then they do like boy, girl, A, B, C. Well, Andrew was the first storm. He didn't show up on the scene until about the 24th of August, hit Homestead, Florida, and was posthumously graded as a Category 5 hurricane. But the question is, when you're thinking about, okay, hurricane season, all of June, nothing, all of July, nothing, 3 weeks of August, nothing, and then you tell people to prepare. They're like, I'll see it when I believe it, that kind of thing. So sometimes, let's be fair, it's better to be prepared and plan ahead than be caught, shorthanded. Because as Dr. Ken Graham, the former director of the National Hurricane Center, said today, I thought this was a great quote. He said, there are no lines for gas today. There are no lines for toilet paper, diapers, or formula. So go on and get it. Go ahead and get it, because there's no lines right now. But wait till when there's 3 days away, you're like, oh, there's shortages, or that type of thing. By the way, there were more than 400 fatalities in 2024, more than 400 fatalities in 2024. It was the third deadliest hurricane season after 2017 and 2005. 2005, of course, was Katrina, and they're earmarking this is the 20th year since we had Katrina. That's hard to believe. That was last August. It was August around 28th in 2005. I was on the air in Rochester, New York at the time. And the other point was they said we lose so many people. We lose so many people after the storm that people pull out their chainsaw. They have a down tree or a down power line, and fatalities occur. And they mentioned that over 50% of the deaths occurred in storm surge, but the fact that rip currents are beginning to become the bigger problem. We covered that earlier this week. About 200 fatalities in the coastal Carolinas have occurred in the last 25 years. And that's about an 8-year average of 8. It's astonishing, but that's a big concern. And you can have rip currents when it's sunny and it's low tide pulling you out, and you got to learn how to swim parallel to the shore. That becomes key. So we could go on this all day, but I just wanted to show you the numbers so that you would know. Now, if we had, I got to go give you the outlook, right? Here's the NOAA outlook, 13 to 19, 6 to 10, 3 to 5. It's kind of like they're like a field goal kicker in the NFL. They have uprights. If it's somewhere between here and here, 13 and 19, it's a big number, right? They don't like to be ultra specific, but they're giving you a general range. And when you look at these numbers now, you go, well, 13, 19, that's kind of like what we had last year. They're giving it a 60% chance that it's a normal season. 60% chance. One of the other things I think you might find interesting is this. You ready? Gather around. They've improved their forecast. How? We talked about the dropsondes yesterday with the parachutes. They've added some since 2007 when I went to go board on that plane out in Cape May, New Jersey. They're adding drones now. Of course, they've got gliders. They've got floats. They've got not floaties, but floats. And they got radar. This has helped reduce the 3-day hurricane track error since 1990 down to 79%. So there's a huge improvement when you've got more tools, more tech. But you know what it doesn't do? It doesn't convince you, perhaps, to prepare. And I want to hope the suggestions and hope that you will prepare, because that's what we need to do. Planning ahead, the whole idea of get the diapers, the formula, the toilet paper, have it ready, the food, ready to eat meals, whatever you need to do. Get ahead of that, so because it's not if a hurricane or a tropical storm comes to Hampton Roads, it's when. I mean, come on, let's be real. It's when it happens, and will you be ready? I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I hope you will be. I hope you will be. By the way, when we talk about the hurricane names, if we had 19, because they said 13 and 19. Did I show you that picture yet? I don't know if I did. Let me go back. Oh, there was the hurricane analysis. This is the other tool, more tech. If you want to geek out on rapid intensification, they have added this tool to help improve the Hurricane Mitches of the world. You know, that thing ramped up to 180, just like that. 180 miles an hour. This little tool, because the weather community, we're really big on acronyms like NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. What you're looking at is a tool called the Hurricane Analysis and Forecast System. We'll just call it the HAVFS, okay, HAVS, whatever they want to call it. This is supposed to improve the forecast by another 5 to 7%. So the end result is this. They're thinking 13 to 19. They're expecting hurricanes 6 to 10 and major hurricanes 3 to 5. So does that help? I hope it helps, because this is what we got, right? Sometimes it's just a number, but if it only takes one, I'm kind of curious to know what you are seeing. If you're leaving me a comment, I'd love to see hi to you. Let's see here. I got Leslie Hayes. She's got a follow-up question. She says, hi, guys. Beautiful evening here. Looking forward to cooler temps overnight and loving the hurricane anticipation coverage. Don't you like that? Now, let's say we had a tropical storm in the Bahamas, right? Maybe we have 2 or 3 days to prepare as it rolls up the coast. The rip currents are already probably happening, not probably, are happening. And in those types of situations, people wait to the last minute. Do you know how you would evacuate? Do you know your path? Do you know your, do you have a safe space when it comes to hurricane coverage? What about tornado? We have strong storms. We have a place we go interior your house. Just have a plan. Think ahead. What would you do? I hope you'll have something to do that way. I got some, let's see. I got a note from Ed. We got a note from Ed. Let's put Ed on the screen. Ed says, I got so much rain in Norfolk yesterday, my flower pots were full of water this morning. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, because we had some, Ed, about up to what, 1.5, 2 inches of rain. I believe Robert Wimberly, one of our WTKR weather spotters, had 3.5 inches at the Newport News. It's like mind-blowing, right? That's like a month's worth, and some down in North Carolina said, I got a 1/4 inch. What is he talking about? See, that's what I love about weather. And when you think about this, as I thank you for that note, Ed, when I think about this and show you that outlook, what is it about weather that you like? Because what I like about it is that every day is different. Never do you have 2 days similar, or you have similar days, but every day is different, and that's what makes it exciting, right? So that's the way I view it. Maybe you have a different philosophy on it. We got another note from David. He is putting out a weather report. He says, I just had some hail, not surprised, in Burwell's Bay. Thank you for that update, David. That's David Moose. He says it's very strange. Yeah, this time, given the fact that we are, what time is it, 7:57, yeah, these storms will be passing by. We'll revisit the radar before we get too far down the road. But I wanted to give you that update. And if one other note we can put out is the hurricane names. If we had, they said 13 to 19, 13 would take us from Andrea to Melissa, and 19 would take us all the way to Tanya. So if these names are of interest to you, you got a brother, you got a sister named Mary, you got a Gabrielle, we have Aaron, Gabrielle, Rebecca. I'll call them out because we have people that work here in the building named Aaron, Gabrielle, and Rebecca. They might be a water cooler talk, right? I don't know if they want to be the next Katrina or the Helene, because those things often, they're remembered for other reasons besides just the name that you have. But these are the names they're going to use, and they recycle them every 6 years. All right, it is 7:58. I got to keep moving. The ocean front looks beautiful right now. Obviously, very different than what we've been seeing along the eastern shore. Highs today hit 76, and the normal high is 79. I do know that while tech has improved, you got to prepare when we talk about hurricanes, talking about the rip currents. Oh, the other stat, what did I have here? Let me come back here. The other statistic from Dr. Ken Graham was that ready for this? Every Category 5 hurricane that's hit the United States, that would include Andrew, every Category 5 that's hit the United States, Cat 5, was a tropical storm less than 3 days prior. Meaning these storms ramp up super fast. And they said they're worried about inland flooding, which covers a lot of Virginia, North Carolina. They're also worried about rip currents. These are all things on their agenda, but they were laser focused on how to improve the rapid intensification forecast. And again, it could be slow moving, it could be fast. Some people will say, well, I've never seen a Category 1 do that. Well, you show the folks the damage in Helene in western North Carolina and remind them that that was barely a tropical storm. When it got to it was a Cat 4 in the Gulf. But when it finally moved through Georgia, it weakened and weakened and weakened. It was barely a tropical storm when it came to Tennessee. So it's just something to think about. But I digress. I got to get back to the maps because I know I'm on a time restraint. Let's go. 76 was the high in Virginia Beach today. It was 79 in Manio, and these are our current readings at 7:59. I would assume now, because my computer is smart, It's probably the 8 o'clock temperatures you're seeing here. 66 rain-cooled degrees perhaps in Cape Charles, 67 in Gloucester. And there's more heat in Knoxville at 73, Raleigh's 80, 84 in Myrtle Beach right now. And we've got temperature dew points are cooling down. This is what's going to be the big story moving forward. I talked about the dew point as the gold standard. The gold standard for humidity. When it's in the 40s, it feels great. It's great hair days. It feels like autumn. It's like what comes to my mind is the word cool and crisp. It's crisp in the morning when you got dew points in the 40s, and that's all advecting or transporting in our direction. So be prepared for some cooler weather. Even though we get in the 70s in the afternoon, it's not going to be sticky, probably not for a while. Look around the country. I'm looking at Phoenix at 104. That's crazy town. I know it's a dry heat, but 104 in May seems a bit weird to me. At 96 in San Antonio, well, it's 66 in Minneapolis. You got a note? Let me know. Let's see here. Josh asking about how's the forecast going to look this weekend for the Eastern Shore. It's going to look pretty decent. I have only rain coming in Sunday afternoon and evening and exiting early on Monday morning. But more on that in just a second. It's now 8 o'clock. Temperature trend looks like this. Kind of flat lines in the mid-70s when the normal high is practically 80. It's 79. That's the normal high this time of year. This is the big picture, and it's not moving. It's the static image, but it gives you an idea that all that's spinning around Buffalo is creating quite a bit of rain all across the area, and you can see that spin much clearer here than perhaps elsewhere. So that's what we're seeing on this image that you see here. Maybe zoom in a little bit tighter here. This is what I wanted to zoom in on since we wanted to revisit the radar. We now have looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Up above, it's affects Franklin. We got a new severe storm. Oh, sound the alarm. It looks like I'm going to go a little bit longer here. This is one runs until 8:30. Hail size about 1.25 inches. So please be mindful of that. I'll put this in a stop mode so it won't keep looping. But this is also moving to the east at roughly 35 miles per hour, capable of producing some damaging wind. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Franklin wasn't in the level 1 risk. No, they were not, but this is what's happening. And now we have one that's also further north, up towards, say, Exmoor. Actually, there's a strong storm north of Exmoor, but the one that's still moving through Northampton looks pretty vigorous. All that purple area would suggest a good hail core that's moving across the Cape Charles area, now to the east of Cape Charles, and it's got hail size about 1 inch, affecting about 2,100 people. So 2 areas that we're watching there, and the one that's down in Franklin. So we put them both on the screen. This includes Isle of Wight and it includes Southampton. And I find it interesting that I would actually, I didn't have the presence of mind. This is not something I thought, hey, I'll put my Franklin pictures here and I'll have a Franklin severe thunderstorm warning. But there you go. You couldn't have timed. I couldn't time this out any better. So hopefully I got the Franklin audience. I've cornered the market on Franklin right now. Welcome to hurricane country. Perfect. That's in Franklin, by the way. Let me get back to the radar because this is more interesting to see that. I've got some other notes from Josh. Michelle's on here. I got a one-word response from Michelle Hatchett. She says, interesting. I like it. I'm glad that you're here. I hope it's interesting. I hope to be able to give you some good information as we head through the time here. But this is just one or two severe thunderstorm warnings. One lasts until 8:15. One lasts until 8:30. Be very careful that this is, again, what we're looking at in terms of the storm might be moving like this. So let me give you a track. I think that's important. About 35 miles an hour would put you right about here. And we got some towns on the screen. Woohoo! This would be likely to impact 804 Carsville, Manning at 819, Franklin Junction at 820 if this thing holds together, and could be knocking on the door of Suffolk Executive. I'm sure somebody knows where that is, 822, and Saunders at 825. So severe weather going on there. We got the one that's up here in, we also have the one up here in the Cape Charles area. This one's moving out, the one in Northampton. Let me see if I can move in a little bit tighter so I can get a track on that because I think this would be helpful. Yep, this one is very vigorous because the purple area says to me we've got some good hail in this cell alone. And last I checked, let me see if I can do a quick check on that. I believe this is also moving at 35 miles an hour. Let me see where this is so I can get you the latest update here. So this is actually moving. Yep, it has, let me give you the full text on this. And if this will load up, I will find, yep, I've got Too many screens open on my phone too because I'm multitasking, but hopefully this will work out a little bit better. But even still, if this continues to move on this path to the south and east, it's going to be heading right out to sea pretty quickly, right? So you've got probably 35 miles an hour here to the southeast, which would put you there. There's no towns in this area because these are more of the barrier islands it's affecting now. But we'll keep moving because I know there's a lot to take in. And I'm also running 5 minutes late. So we've got the severe thunderstorm warnings that expire at 8:15, 8:30. Once they're gone, they're gone. This is another reason, a great reason to have the News 3 First Warning Weather app. Because if you have it, you get the lightning alerts, you get the alerts to your phone, and you are in the know. We always like to say have multiple sources in case the cell phone towers are damaged. You have a NOAA weather radio that's battery operated. You get the updates accordingly. Rain chances for this upcoming weekend. 40% on Sunday, 30% on Monday. This is mainly in the afternoon on Sunday and early morning Monday. But the super soggy day would definitely be on Tuesday. Eastern Shore, which is getting pounded now with some rain now, looks very nice on Friday. From Onancock at 70, Cape Charles at 72, down to the Outer Banks we go to Nags Head at 73, Duck at 73, and Rodanthe about 74, Hatteras about 75 tomorrow. Clearly you can see in the distance what's over the Chesapeake Bay. Clouds are causing more interesting sky pictures probably for sunset. If you're visiting us from out of town, we would welcome you to come visit us for Memorial Day weekend. Maybe you're planning to be here for maybe you're going to come here for the 4th of July. We'd love to have you. Come visit the Eastern Shore, the Outer Banks, and Hampton Roads. We'd love to see you. It's usually July that we have our hottest month. That's typically about 15 days. This is coming by way of the National Weather Service in Wakefield, so you don't have whole numbers, but we can round up and say 15 days, July, that's almost half the month. And so far we've had 3 days at 90. Today was another below average day. Keeping score 14-6. We're 14 days above normal and 6 days below normal, but we have some below normal days ahead. Ocean front, 551. It's 8:12. That's when the sun will be coming up tomorrow. If you're going to be enjoying some time, we would love to see you. And I mentioned the Storm Prediction Center. This is more for those who might be traveling and anyone who has military family and you've got to be somewhere over the holiday, you're going to be traveling. The colors that we have been talking about tonight is the level 1. Isolated, severe storms, might be more isolated obviously now because it's down into Franklin. But if you have family in the the Oklahoma City area, in areas into Kansas, this is the severe weather threat tomorrow. Specifically can be found in the heart of Kansas, maybe into parts of Nebraska and Oklahoma. Isolated severe storms in parts of West Texas. If you got family in parts of Arkansas, they may too have some severe weather tomorrow. Parts of Florida from Fort Pierce to Miami. You got a flight to Miami, they could have severe weather tomorrow. And this is clearly quiet across the eastern seaboard. And for us here in Hampton Roads, we look good. Saturday, you're doing some commuting, even though we got delightful weather here. It's not great in Oklahoma. They've got some issues in Memphis. They got some issues in parts just west of Atlanta for the possibility of severe weather there as well. See here. Do I have some other notes? Keep them coming. I've got another note. Somebody's tagging somebody. I think that was part of it. But anyway, severe weather threat Saturday. So let me get to the nuts and bolts. We're going to hopefully be done here in like 2 minutes. 9 o'clock, these showers are still moving in, hopefully with less intensity, because once the sun goes down, we're more likely to see this go to sleep. Some of the energy does diminish. Once the sun goes down, you lose your heat source. But look at tomorrow morning. Sunny. I mean, tomorrow is going to be pretty decent. There will be more clouds, maybe even some fog where it's been raining this evening. But you will find a pretty decent day on Friday. I left a 10% chance for a stray shower, but I don't think you'll see much. Saturday is another gem, another beautiful day in Hampton Roads on Saturday. I mean, look at 5 o'clock. Just some high, thin cirrus clouds is all I expect. It's going to be a gorgeous day. But where things change is when this low, the next one, you mean there's another one? Yeah, there'll be another one coming into Kentucky, Tennessee by about, say, Tuesday morning. So heavy rains underneath it for Knoxville, Atlanta, Knoxville, some heavy rain for you on Tuesday morning, and then it kind of fills in to the Outer Banks. So I think the heavier rains, because of the orientation of that warm front, will be in North Carolina. Virginia Beach will get rain, don't get me wrong. I left a 70% chance of rain now for Virginia Beach and Norfolk, but if you're in North Carolina, you can see the darker greens and yellows. The heavier rains will likely find a home, the way it's tracking anyway, across the Tar Heel state. Temperature outlook we talked about was going to be below normal. Our dew points have dropped in the 40s across the Ohio Valley, so get ready. It's going to feel a little bit like autumn and that's okay, I guess, right? Because we had a hot start to May. Friday morning, we're in the mid to upper 50s. Tomorrow morning, we're at 52 in Franklin, 60 in Duck, 60 in Corolla, and over toward Matthews, 51 degrees. Tomorrow afternoon will look beautiful, kind of like this. 73 in Peninsulas, 74 Southside, and if you're in North Carolina, 75. Here's your 3-day forecast. We're going to turn it into a 7-day. We can do that, but this kind of gives you at least a view that we got 74 tomorrow, 77 on Saturday, 75 on Sunday, and what do you see? We got temperatures in the upper 70s, nothing terribly hot. I mean, you're hard pressed. You get more humidity when the lows are in the 60s, but the lowest, coldest morning for at least Norfolk, I think, will be Saturday morning when we're down to 55 degrees. Okay, I got another note here from Leslie. She's ready. I don't know what she's ready for, but I'm going to give you the happy shots. It's time to round things out because it's 8:10. Beautiful picture. Kurt Williams, our news anchor, and Jessica Larche. When we looked at this, I got this from my friend Brenda Davis. She's my new friend here on Facebook. She had sent this picture. She called it Big Bird in the clouds in Bennett, Virginia. And I thought, oh, okay, I see Big Bird. And then I said, then one of our photographers came in. Shui comes in. He said, no, it looks like Godzilla on the left. So it's either Godzilla or it's a bird on the right. So you tell me. I mean, if we had more time, you could sit here and look at this and go, I see a bird. It's one of those like little psychology tests. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Big Bird. And then we got the beautiful Sunset Beach Bar and Grill from Bartow Bridges on the Eastern Shore. How about that sunset? And what a great way to end when we have this picture from Virginia Beach. Beautiful sunset there. Don't forget, we have some Marco's Pizza to give away next week. 5 locations, of course, will be where you can redeem that win a pizza for a year. But you can go to any Marco's, anywhere, tonight, tomorrow. Nobody's stopping you. We're going to be giving away the Magnifico. You might love to check out the Pozzoli. It's kind of like a calzone, but it's very filling and awesome for a lunch item. But we're going to be giving away, all you have to do, simple, name, email, basic stuff so that we can contact you if you win. But we're giving away 10 of these. 10? Who does that? We're doing that. We're doing that. 10. You go to WTKR.com/Marcos starting on Monday, which is a holiday, and yours truly will be here, and I'll be excited about giving away lots of pizza. Is that enough information? I went a little long. 8:12. You guys were worth it. I mean, how would I know I was going to have severe weather? It just happened. It just happened. But we want to make sure everybody's safe. And as like I said, every day is different. And remember, every day is a gift because, let's face it, what's the alternative? We have to be grateful for what we have and look out after each other. We'll see you here next time. Take care.